Hi everybody, I'm Gio. Today's story is called Insanely Zane. I hope you enjoy. Zane, how can you be so incompetent? You forgot to take Jasmine to her piano class last week, and her teacher still charged me, so I'm charging you. The high school called me again. Elliot is not making it to class. I'm holding you responsible, Mom said over my phone. Mom, Elliot leaves for school every morning, but I can't control where I tried to say. Don't give me another stupid excuse. The school's counselors want to talk to me about it in person, but I can't make it. You will, Mom said, her voice almost a shout. I'm working 2 jobs and going to school. I can't, I said. Yes, you will. Make sure Elliot gets to school and take out the trash before the manager complains. I'm sure it's beginning to smell, Mom whined. There was a slight lag in the connection. Wherever she was a long ways from Vegas. Mom's a flight attendant, and she leaves me in charge while she's gone. Sometimes she's gone days, even a week, because she finds time to spend with her boyfriend, Roderico, the co-pilot. We already took the trash out, I said. Finally, you did something right, Mom said. A faint voice said something in the background that I couldn't understand. Then Mom said, Zane, do a better job of handling your brother and sister. We're about to admit the passengers. I've got to go. It's time you came back and handled things, I said. Grow up, Zane. My job pays the rent, Mom said, and hung up. I had just gotten off the night shift, and my knees ached, and my back ached, and I was hungry. I would have moved out when I was 19, 2 years ago, but somebody had to watch my brother and sister. I got stuck with the job, while all my old friends moved on with their lives. I hate my life. Correction, I'd hate my life if I had one. I put my phone away and stood at the bus stop, waiting to go home in the pre-dawn darkness. Early March, it was a half an hour before sunrise, and it was the best part of my day, because this was when he arrived. Was he here already? I didn't know his name. He usually arrived at the bus stop a little after 6 in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, always taking the inbound bus. Wherever he came from, he was tired, dead tired. Found him. He leaned on the side of the bus stop as he almost fell asleep. Something about him seemed dangerous and exciting. Those were 2 words nobody used to describe me. I bet nobody would push him around. When his bus arrived, he climbed aboard, always took the 4th row, the one between windows, plugged in his earbuds, and fell asleep. That's all I knew about him, because, even though I was at the same stop, I caught a different bus. I had the baking shift at Bernie's Bagels, and I was always covered in flour. I'd been at work since 8 hours ago, and it was time to get a couple of Z's before class. I'm always tired. Why all the interest in a man when I didn't even know his name? I mean, I didn't know if he liked gay men, and had never even spoken to him. The thing is, something about him screamed that he needed a friend. In this town, a lot of people don't have friends, including me. A lot of people only wanted to use you. Use your money, or your car, or your brains, or your connections, or your life to babysit your younger brother and sister. I've been there, and still there, because Mom needs a live-in babysitter for Elliot and Jasmine, my brother and sister, so she can fly all over the country. I wish I lived on my own, but that isn't possible. I hurried home because I have to get my 16-year-old brother, Elliot, and 12-year-old sister, Jasmine, off to school before getting a couple hours sleep. We live in a small 2-bedroom on the 3rd floor of an older apartment building. Elliot and I share a room, Well, Jasmine and Mom has the other one. Though Mom's schedule seems as random as a butterfly, so often it seems as if Jasmine has her own room. The next time I saw the guy, he was sitting alone at the bus stop. I took a seat next to him. He seemed a little pale and more tired than normal. "Hey, you okay?" I asked. He blinked a bloodshot eye open and said, "Been a long night, friend," before falling asleep. I shook him when his bus arrived, and he muttered something that sounded like, "Thanks," as he climbed aboard and offered a cute smile that made me smile back. My reward for my good deed. Slender, sculpted cheekbones and black hair, he always wore a worn gray hoodie with a denim jacket covering it, a black t-shirt that said Starburst, jeans that were a size too big and had a serious rip on the right knee, an old green baseball cap of some team called the Crows, and glasses, the stylish ones that didn't have a frame around the lenses and automatically darkened when he went into sunlight. He'd spend money on those. The man could be a male model. His earbuds were wireless, purple, and always played jazz heavy on the trumpet. He had pale, flawless skin, and when he looked at me, I felt embarrassed and sexy and alive and important, all at the same time. We had some kind of a connection. I'm sure of it. Great. I am so desperate for someone to appreciate me, even if that person is an exhausted stranger at the bus stop. It was 2 days later when I saw him again. Like usual, he was half asleep. "Hey," I said, taking the seat next to him, and caught the scents of curry and fried beef and Old Spice deodorant. "Hey," he muttered back. There was something magnetic about him, and I wanted to be close. If he could read my mind, he'd know how pathetic my life was. "Do you want me to wake you when your bus gets here?" I asked. He smiled. His bus arrived a few minutes later, and I made sure he climbed on. My phone rang as I waited for my bus. Mom called. My automatic payment was declined, so the electricity bill wasn't paid. Visit them today and pay it before we get late fees. "Why wasn't there enough money in your account? Did you go shopping again?" I asked. "Don't judge me. It's none of your business what I did with the money," Mom yelled. "Just go there and take care of it, now." "I've been working for 12 hours, and this is what you call me about? Do you want me to get Jasmine and Elliot off to school? You did want me to pack lunches for them, right? Did you want me to do this in place of my class, or making sure Elliot does his homework? I haven't slept since yesterday morning. Oh, I forget. Little Zane doesn't need any sleep. I'm just the babysitter," I yelled. "Zane, don't give me your excuses," Mom yelled, and ended the call. My feet ached, and something in my right shoulder did as well. Once again, I hurried home to make sure Ellie and Jasmine left for school, and instead of my 5-hour nap, I made the bus connections to pay the bill. Good thing I don't have a car because I'd fall asleep at the wheel. The next time I saw him, he had collapsed into a bus stop seat, a fist-sized bruise on his right jaw, and he held a bag of ice on it. "Hey, what happened?" I said, nodding at the bruise. "Rough crowd last night," he said, and yawned so wide that I saw his back teeth. The man's teeth were perfect. I wish I was that lucky. "What do you do?" I asked. "Bartender at the Starburst until they close, and then after-hours janitor. I'm Ari Rossi," he said. "Zane Smith. Is the Starburst a bar?" I asked. "New nightclub below the college," he said. Ari was a bartender at a nightclub? This man led a much more exciting life than I did. I mean, I'm a baker for a bagel shop when I'm not taking care of my family. I couldn't be more boring if I tried. I pretended not to be jealous and changed the conversation. "Ari? Unusual name. Where's it from?" "It's short for Articello. My grandparents immigrated from Italy, and I was named after my grandfather. My full name is Articello Zenabio Rossi," he said. "You sound like royalty. Then you're not from Vegas?" I asked. "Somebody's nosy. I don't like going into my life story with people I don't know, he said. I had overstepped my bounds, but something about him seemed lonely, vulnerable, and exciting, and that made him sexy. Maybe I was seeing myself in him. Well, not the exciting and sexy parts. Would it be wrong to think of myself for once? With all I had to do, I never had time to do anything for me. Would it be wrong, just this once, to do something for me? Could I ask Audrey on a date? It had been a long time since I saw someone. What would Audrey see in me anyway? An exhausted man who was as tired in his soul as in his body. Still, all Audrey could do was say no. Let's get to know each other then. Saturday night. I don't have to work, so do you want to grab a burger and catch that new movie everybody's talking about? I said. Such a simple, stupid question, but it made me insanely nervous. Ari didn't have to say yes. It would probably be wiser not to say yes, because I'm just another tired stranger at the bus stop. Ari lowered his perfect eyebrows and looked at me with his warm, comfortable eyes. Beautiful black eyes with flecks of green and gold that invited me to stare at them for as long as I wanted. My hand went to the neckline of my shirt and played with the hem. Could Ari and I ever be close? Could I feel his arms about me, his breath on my lips right before we kissed, the warmth as he snuggled into my neck? Did we lean in, right now, at the bus stop, our tiredness making the moment seem more intimate, make his lips seem closer than they were? Brakes squealed, and a bus snorted as it pulled up beside the bus stop. Ari's bus. Ari stood up, adjusted his pack, and gave me a smile. You are a nice guy, Zane, but knowing me is trouble. Tell me the details on our date, I said, trying to give the man an innocent smile. Something about the way Ari's shoulders relaxed, or his dangerous nod, made him seem sexier. With a mild chuckle, he whispered, How about I give you my answer Friday? I'm too tired to think clearly right now. A casual, logical excuse was the polite way of saying no. It kind of disappointed me, though I didn't let it show. Admit it, I'm just another unhappy, dull stranger at the bus stop, working long hours and hoping for a better life that would never come. That isn't a no, I said, hoping for a better response. No, it isn't, he said. A genuine smile momentarily graced his lips as he climbed on the bus. Then he looked at me. His smile disappeared, and his eyebrows bunched together as if he had guessed my thoughts. Until Friday, friend. As his bus took off, I bit my knuckle. Had I made a fool of myself? I am so bad at asking people out. Had it been more than a year since I dated? I'd been too worried about keeping my family together. And somehow I had. For too many years, I was all Elliot and Jasmine had. When was it my turn to live? While I waited, my phone rang. Mom. Zane, you will clean the place up for this weekend. I can't believe how messy 3 kids can be, Mom yelled. If I have time, Mom, I said. Make time. Have you talked with the school counselors about Elliot? Mom said. Haven't had the chance, Mom, I said. You are so incredibly lazy. You are just like your dad, Mom yelled. When do you want me to sleep, Mom? There's only 24 hours in one day, and my day is filled, I yelled back. You are obviously not doing enough, Mom yelled. Me? You're playing footsie with your boyfriend while I work 2 jobs, take care of Elliot and Jasmine, and go to school. So get off my back, or get back to Vegas and do it all yourself, I yelled. Whiny brat, you can't do anything, Mom yelled, and hung up. Fuming, I took my bus home and made a simple breakfast for Elliot and Jasmine and checked the calendar for Mom's schedule. I wouldn't have to see her until Sunday morning, and then she was off again Monday morning for 5 days. Jasmine was ready to get to school. but Elliot was still in bed. A junior in high school with the attitude to match. I didn't want to deal with his attitude right now. Jasmine is an angel and takes care of herself. She left for her bus, her lunch and backpack in tow. "Come on, you're going to be late," I said, yanking the blanket off of Elliot. He lay there in shorts and grabbed for the blanket, but he was too slow. "I'm not going," he mumbled. "Yes, you are," I said. "I stayed up late when I got home from work and played video games. Let me sleep," he said. "You have to go to school," I said, finding a clean t-shirt and tossing it at him. "You graduated, and look how lame you turned out. Do you think I want that kind of life? Leave me alone," Elliot said. "My life might be lame, but it's better than sleeping around all the time," I said. "When do you expect me to play games? None of my friends work, so I don't see why I have to work. I'm only a junior," he whined. "You want new clothes, new games, and go to the movies with your friends? You pay for them yourself. I don't have the money," I said. "Someday I'm moving out so I can sleep in when I want. Leave me alone and give me the blanket back," Elliot said, and turned over in his bed. "Then you're moving out with a high school education. Get in the shower before I dump water on you," I said, and tossed an old towel on top of him, but my brother didn't move. "There's a bucket under the kitchen sink. I'll be right back." "I hate you," he said. Elliot finally got dressed and left for school. It gave me time for 5 hours sleep. Then my class. I take 2 classes, though they alternate days, and I stopped off at the corner market and picked up a few things on the way home. For dinner, I made a simple lasagna and cheesy bagels, and while dinner was cooking, I did my homework. Why doesn't life have a pause button? When Elliot and Jasmine got home, we had a quick dinner, but Elliot refused to speak to me. Then Elliot went to his part-time shoe store job, while I went to my part-time evening job at the dollar discount store and took an extra strong coffee for my shift at Bernie's. We didn't have a choice. We had to leave Jasmine alone. Good thing she's an angel. Friday came. I decided to surprise Ari with bagels and cream cheese and coffee. Employees get day olds at a serious discount. I'm not passing up a chance to impress Ari. Ari already sat at the bus stop, leaning against the wall, eyes closed, as I arrived. "Hey, what's your answer?" I said, taking the seat next to him. I opened the sack with the bagels, and Ari took a cheddar jalapeno bagel. "Before I answer you, answer something for me," he said, taking a bagel and smearing cream cheese on it. "Why me?" "I like the way you look when you sleep, so I figured it might be fun to get to know you when you're awake. Besides, I'm asking, which means I'm buying. Do you have anything better going on tomorrow?" I said. "That all depends on your next answer," he said. "What's the question?" I asked. "I own a car, but seldom get a chance to use it. What if I stopped by your place and picked you up?" he said. That stumped me because I wasn't expecting it. It meant that rather than sleeping Saturday morning, I'd have to clean. Still, dating Ari would be fun, and I'd catch up on my sleep Sunday. We exchanged phone numbers and I gave him my address. When I got home, Jasmine was ready for school, but Elliot was still in bed. I tried a different tactic. I whipped out the vacuum and cleaned the apartment. I made sure to focus on the area around Elliot. "Why are you cleaning at this hour?" Elliot grumbled, but he sat up. "We have company coming," I said. "Who?" my little sister asked. "His name's Ari, and he's picking me up for our date, so I want the place sparkling," I said. "A date? Is he cute? Is he rich? What does he look like?" Jasmine giggled and helped load the dishwasher. Elliot stumbled out of bed and dressed for school. Having Ari come over was a bad idea. The apartment was a cluttered mess because nobody had the time or the desire or the energy to clean it up. Once my siblings had left, I had my usual 5-hour nap, then left for class. It will take me a decade to graduate at this rate, but I will graduate. I'm a boring space geek. I'm majoring in science with a minor in astronomy. Me and numbers are best friends. I've always wanted to be an astronaut and study the stars, but the practical side of me knew that was a dream. I don't have time for dreams, not with my family to take care of. When I got home, I fixed dinner for my family, cleaned a little, and headed off to work. I needed a day off to get the apartment ready, so why had I agreed to this? Would Ari take one look at how we lived and dump me? I took some day-olds from the bakery to give to Elliot and Jasmine. Opening the front door made me almost drop the bag of food. The apartment smelled of lemon cleaner and fresh-baked cake, and the vacuum stood next to the spotless living room. A dozen roses sat in an old vase on the dining room table. "You owe me," Jasmine sang from the messy kitchen as she mixed up pink frosting. "I got up early to get our home ready so you can be lovey-dovey tonight." "You did all this?" I said. "I did. I hope you like strawberries because I'm decorating the cake with strawberries," she said. "And I bought some chocolates. Elliot wanted to eat them all, but I hid them so he couldn't find them." I gave Jasmine a hug. "The neighbors will complain to the manager, and he'll yell at Mom, and then Mom will scream at us. Do you know what time Jasmine started vacuuming? How come we don't get to have friends over?" my brother whined. Rather than getting dressed, he had wrapped his blanket around him. "Because when Mom's home, she needs to sleep, and I don't want anyone over unless I'm here," I said. "You're mean. When did you become Dad?" Elliot shouted. "When you didn't grow up," I said. "Get dressed and help us get the place cleaned up." "No. You want this place clean? Do it yourself. I'm going back to bed, and no more vacuuming," he said, as he disappeared into our room and slammed the door closed. Jasmine and I made the place presentable. Then, while she played on her phone and chatted with friends, I had a nap. About 5:30, the doorbell woke me. I rambled to the door, fighting the sleep. The noise of my brother shooting something and screaming at some enemy echoed around the apartment. "Keep it down," I yelled as I went to the door. I opened the door. Oh God, it was Ari. I wasn't expecting this. I thought I was ready to date. I wasn't ready at all. I couldn't compare with Ari. Ari wore a nicely pressed pale green button-down shirt and crisply pressed khaki slacks. To finish the look, he wore shined slip-on black loafers and a polished copper bracelet that gleamed. Over his left shoulder, he loosely held a jacket. Me? I wore a t-shirt I'd bought from the thrift store and old jeans and old sneakers, and I'd slept in them. I don't even own a jacket. Is it too late to call this off? Audrey's hair was styled casual, and his pale skin was flawless and smooth. His smile glowed. Ari was a European fashion magazine come to life. Me, I looked like a scarecrow wearing somebody's thrown-out clothes. "Can I come in?" Ari said, a flicker of a smile on his lips. Oh my God, I'd been staring at him, and he'd noticed. I opened the door wide and said, "Where are my manners? Come on in." He walked in, eyeing the place Jasmine and I had spent so much time cleaning. The clutter was gone, but the couch was the same ancient one I had played on as a kid, and the table and chairs were scuffed, and the place smelled of cake and roses and lemon cleaner. Jasmine had added a few extra special touches. She added extra pillows to the sofa. Some pink pillows, even a couple bright red heart-shaped pillows, and she'd draped our old white Christmas lights across the pictures on the wall. On the table next to the dozen roses was a large heart-shaped box of chocolates. Beside them were 2 tall taper candles in Mom's old antique 8-inch silver candle holders she'd gotten for her wedding. Jasmine hurried and lit them. There was nothing shy about her smile. I bet she wanted me to date Ari more than I did. Ari chuckled. My brother screamed, "I got him, take that," and a flurry of gunfire exploded from the bedroom. A soft click came from behind me. Jasmine had turned on a long-play YouTube video of romantic music to try and cover the noise my brother made. She gave me a mischievous wink. I bet I could guess what she was thinking. Jasmine had gone over the top, turning this place into a teenage version of a romantic love nest. It was her way of saying, "Love you, bro." I owed her in a big way, and she knew it. I'd have to do something impressive for her birthday. "Hi," I said, focusing on Ari. "Nice place," Ari said, but I wasn't sure if he meant it sarcastically or was being polite, but his smile seemed sincere. He set 2 bottles of champagne on the cleared counter, and somehow 2 fluted wine glasses appeared next to them. "Champagne?" I said. "Champagne?" Jasmine's eyes popped wide. I'm sure mine did too. "I thought we'd make our first date special," Ari said. "First?" I squeaked. "First? You mean there's going to be a second?" My sister squealed and ran to one of the cupboards and pulled out a large metal pot. "If we like each other," Ari said. "Ari, that's my sister and interior decorator, Jasmine, and my brother, Elliot, is back in our room gaming. Mom's a flight attendant and could be anywhere in the United States," I said. "Hi," Jasmine said, grinning from ear to ear. I don't know when was the last time Zane had a date, so I wanted the place to look nice. "Elliot, come out and say hi." She filled the pot with ice and set the wine in it. "I'm fighting a boss. Oh, crap, 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 crap," Elliot yelled from the other room, amid explosions. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Jasmine, and my compliments. The apartment looks very cozy and romantic," Audie said. Jasmine blushed. "Elliot, you're being rude. Come out right now, or I'm coming in and unplugging your computer." "Don't worry about it, Jasmine," I said, attempting to straighten out my shirt. "Let him game. I know how that goes," Audie said. "Zane, rather than burgers, there is an Italian place I think we could try. Buonissimo. Have you heard of it? Homemade pasta and the best pizza in the state, if not the country. I like their sauces because they don't overdo it on the garlic." "How do you know of it?" I asked. "I know the owners, and they gave me a discount, so I'm buying tonight," Ari said. "Lucky. I wish I could come," Jasmine said. "Do you and Elliot want to come with us?" Ari asked. "I don't mind if Zane doesn't mind." Jasmine looked at me and gave me a coy giggle. "Not on a first date. Do you know how long it's been since Zane went on a real date? He had a boyfriend, but I didn't like him. Always borrowed money and never gave it back." "I want to hear about that," Ari said, looking at me. "That's another story," I muttered. "Give me a second to change." I ran back into the bedroom, closed the door, stripped, and opened the closet doors as wide as possible. I had to wear something nicer than this, but laundry was tomorrow. Most everything was dirty. I found a nicer shirt, a long-sleeved burgundy button-down, and dark gray slacks I hadn't worn for months, and a spritz from that sample of Vind cologne. I'm running out of time. Where were my old Sunday shoes? A clicking sound came from the front door as it opened. A female voice? Mom's voice? Now? She wasn't due until tomorrow morning. She said something, but I guess she was speaking into her phone. "I just got home, so give me half an hour to get cleaned up and changed, and I'll be ready for our date." I needed to get dressed fast. "Mom, why are you home?" Jasmine said. "I live here." "Whoa, what happened? Did I come to the right home? It's so clean. Who's this?" Mom said. I imagined my sister taking a deep breath before speaking. "This is Zane's boyfriend. He's much cuter than the last one." "I'm Ari Rossi, ma'am, and I'm taking Zane out to dinner tonight," Ari said. "Boyfriend?" Mom said. I bet Jasmine took another deep breath because the words flew out of her mouth. Zane and Ari are going to that nice Italian place, Buonissimo, and coming back here for some romance time by candlelight, and I've made them a cake, and bought them chocolates, and spent all day cleaning, and I've made a list of romantic movies they could stream, and Elliot promised to stay in his room so they can have some privacy, and Ari brought champagne, and I put it into ice because that's what you're supposed to do with champagne. Do you like the Christmas lights, Ari? I know it's not Christmas, but I wanted it to be special for my brother. I want it to be so romantic, like you see in the movies. I think it's very special, Jasmine. It reminds me of Valentine's Day. Thank you, Ari said. Where's Zane right now? Mom said. Her tone became brittle. He went to change because he took one look at how gorgeous Ari is and ran to find something better to wear, Jasmine said. He should have let me pick his clothes. Jasmine, stay here while I talk to Zane, Mom said. A second later, Mom walked into my room. Mom, next time knock. I'm still getting dressed, I said. I had my shoes and pants on, but the shirt wasn't buttoned. Mom closed the door behind her, was still dressed in her flight attendant uniform, and placed her hands on her hips. I don't have a lot of time before Ricardo picks me up, so listen and listen hard. I don't appreciate coming home and finding my apartment decorated like a cheap motel. Then your date, you don't want me to tell you what I think of him, is obviously a high-class snob. What will Ricardo think? And you are leaving your brother and sister home alone? Who's going to watch over them? You will tell Ari to leave right now, and you will watch Elliot and Jasmine while I'm gone. Mom, what's your problem? It's just a date, and Ari dressed up because it's our first date. Besides, what do you think Jasmine does when Elliot and I have to go to work? I said. You leave her alone? You've made my apartment into your own private love shack? It looks cheap and tacky. I've invited Ricardo over. He's a pilot, and he's used to the finer things in life. And what is he going to think when he sees how cheap you've made this place look? How dare you do this to me, just when I thought I knew you? I trusted you to watch over your siblings, and now I find you abandoning them? I thought you were more responsible than this. My shirt half slipped off as I yelled, Mom, when do I get time off? I work 12 hours almost every night to afford school, and I take care of Elliot and Jasmine while you're playing all over the country. Your paycheck is supposed to cover rent and utilities, but you can't even do that much because you spend it shopping. I have to buy groceries and do laundry and keep this family together from my paychecks. Get that? Plural. I had to pay the electric bill and the late fee that you couldn't afford because once again you went shopping. I get 5 hours of sleep a day. I'm tired of your demands and your disrespect. Don't make this about you, Mom yelled. You have responsibilities to the family. Besides, look at Ari. What can somebody like him see in you? You're nothing more than a cheap lower-class thrill. Name one person who would want you. Ouch, Mom, I said. A soft knock tapped at the door. Ari peeked in. Zane, we can hear you and your mother in the living room. Jasmine's crying, and I don't know what to do about it. I didn't mean to cause problems, so it's best I leave. I'll call and cancel the reservations, but you can keep the champagne. Maybe we can try again another weekend. What had just happened? My date with Ari was about to be destroyed. I took a deep breath and tried to control the anger. Mom, F you, I said. You don't talk to me like that, Mom said. Mom, shut up and listen. Jasmine is 12 and can take care of herself. Elliot is almost 17 and can watch over things. And this is the first night out I've had in months. Jasmine spent all day making the place nice for Ari, and she baked a cake. I've been cleaning until I had to get some sleep. Did you even once ask how we're doing? No, you didn't. We're doing fine, by the way. So stop with the insults. It's time you realized that your family grew up while you were flying around. Where has Ricardo taken you? What fancy restaurants have you been to? You've done a pretty bad job of raising your kids, so I had to do it for you. How dare you? I'm your mother. I ignored her. Elliot, watch over Jasmine while I'm gone. Go left, your other left, Elliot yelled, never turning away from his computer. You expect Elliot to do anything? Zane, stop being selfish. I have a date coming over right now. Ari, you will leave and not come back. And Zane, I want you to watch over the family, Mom yelled. I slowly inhaled and bit down on the anger about to explode out of me. Careful, ma'am, you are about to break your family, Ari whispered, but it seemed more like thunder. He looked at me, his dark eyes fierce and intense. I was about to lose him. Ari, stay out of our family's business. Zane, you will never see him again, and you will never invite anyone over again, Mom yelled. I clenched my fists, the anger building inside. Newsflash, Mom, we aren't a family. You have driven us away. Do your own babysitting. I quit. You stay home and watch Jasmine and Elliot because I've been doing it nonstop for months. Don't bother screaming at me because I'll find my apartment starting Monday, I screamed. She can't drive her family away. She's already abandoned us. Take me with you, Zane. I want out of here, even if I have to sleep on your couch, Elliot murmured. Take me too. I don't want to live with Mom. She's mean. I hate her, Jasmine shrieked from the door. Young lady, you will not say such things about me, Mom yelled. Zane, I know of a couple of places you can check on Monday. One of them is on the bus route, but the rent might be a little higher than here, Ari said. What? Mom yelled. Do you think I would qualify for financial aid? I asked. A single man raising his 2 siblings while working and going to college? Probably. Plus, your mom might be declared unfit and required to surrender custody of Elliot and Jasmine to you, and have child support deducted from her wages. You would need to talk to a lawyer specializing in custody cases to iron out a few details. But with your mom out of town so much, I think the judge would see things your way, Ari said. What? Mom said, taking a step back. I'll start packing right now, Jasmine cried and ran to the other room. Mom, look at what you've done, Elliot said, not looking up from his computer. Mom, think about how to reconnect with your family. I'm out of here, I said. Ari, do you mind if we take Jasmine with us? I think she needs to get away from Mom. Then we'll come back here, eat cake, and stream videos by candlelight, Ari said, adjusting my shirt and buttoning it up. We won't have to worry about Mom being here. She's never cared and she's never around, I said. Ari leaned in and whispered so only I heard him. I care. Do you know how sexy you smell? I could drink you up. He took my hand and led me out of the room. Mom followed, eyeing the 2 of us. She finally gave a sad smile and her shoulders slumped. She said, I'm sorry, I'm just tired, Zane. But you're right, my kids aren't kids anymore. Do you remember that board game we used to play when you were younger, and we would talk as a family? Let's get it out before you 2 stream videos and become a family again. Ari, would you like to join us? What about me? Elliot asked. Epilogue 1. Ari, Jasmine, and I had fun for 2 hours at Buenissimo, and by the time we returned home, to the blissful sounds of Elliot killing things, Jasmine had already fallen asleep. I placed her in her bed and closed the door. Mom had sliced the cake and gave us each a piece. She and Ricardo, Ari and I played the old board game, and for the first time in years, we did something as a family. Ari was pretty good at the game. As we were cleaning up, Mom said, I'm sorry for what I said earlier. It's hard watching your kids grow up. It's even harder watching them spread their wings and fly away. Zane, I've used you to manage the family, but you're 21. It's past time you lived your own life and started your own family. Whether it's with Ari or someone else, it's time for you to fly. She left with Ricardo soon after. Epilogue 2. Ari and I watched videos until, well, I don't know how late. I do remember his gentle kiss. Warm, sensuous, and his canine teeth were sharp. His kiss was divine, the way he nuzzled my neck. Pure ethereal ecstasy. I shivered and goosebumps formed in my arms as a pleasure I've never known flooded my whole body. The heat of his kiss, the tender way he looked at me. I could fall in love with this man. Maybe I had. I don't even remember what time we finished streaming videos. or making out. Only that I woke hours later, sometime late Sunday afternoon, and I had never felt more hungover. A couple of glasses of champagne shouldn't do this. I don't even know how I got into bed, but last night was worth it. I ached to see Ari again, to feel his arms holding me, to feel his warm lips caress mine. I touched my lips and remembered his kiss, the touch of his tongue, the passion in his eyes. I closed my eyes and relived last night. "My beautiful Zane," Ari had whispered. "I could love you forever," I whispered back. "Be careful what you wish for," he had said right before we kissed again. Even though I barely knew him, I felt safe with him. I sat up hoping he would be in bed with me. He wasn't. "Dude, are you finally awake? You slept for 13 hours. I was still on the game when Ari carried you to bed," Elliot said. "When was the last time you got tucked in by your boyfriend?" "Maybe never," I said, finally climbing out of bed, tired and a little dizzy. I'd slept in my nice clothes, but they were wrinkled now. My neck itched. I went into the bathroom and pulled down the collar of my shirt. Something had bitten me on my neck. It must have feasted because there were 2 little wounds, almost like large mosquito bites, a little more than an inch apart. A large hickey surrounded them. I must have been bitten by a spider last night. A little blood seeped from one of the small wounds, and I wiped it clean. "Do you know where the Band-Aids are?" I asked my brother. Elliot walked into the bathroom, looked into the cupboard, and pulled out a small box. "Right side of the cupboard, just like always. You feeling better? You sound a little hoarse," Elliot said. "I feel like all the Chicago Marathon runners ran over my head," I mumbled, placing a Band-Aid over each wound and making sure my shirt collar covered them. "Ari left you a note. It's by your bed, and he said that you should drink some orange juice when you get up because you've been working yourself too hard and needed lots of vitamin C," Elliot said, returning to his game. I found the note on the nightstand, and I almost danced as I read it. "Zane, I had fun last night, and I loved meeting your family. Sorry, I didn't stay, but I didn't think it appropriate since you had passed out. Call me. Let's have a second date next Saturday night if you're willing. Here's the address of the 2-bedroom apartment I was telling you about. I'm free Tuesday night if you want to see it together. See you Monday morning. Ari." I couldn't forget Ari's kiss. Absent-mindedly, I itched the marks on my neck and found my phone. I texted, "I'm willing," as I went to find some orange juice. I couldn't remember the last time I had been this happy. The end. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. We'll see you next time. Oh, and if you get a moment, could you leave a like and maybe subscribe? I'd appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Peace.